the Ref Show. We're all football fans, even match officials are football fans, and therefore, over the next few weeks with Euro 2016, we hope not to be talking too much about referees. But let's face it, they are an important part of the tournament, and sometimes how tournaments go is influenced by a great deal by what the refereeing is like. Keith Hackett, what standard do you expect?
A high level, higher than what we've seen at Premier League this season. I think there are a number of experienced referees, top of the game, you know, and I think with that they should deliver some good performances. I say that on the basis that let's hope that Kalina gives them a degree of freedom to express their own talents. I always remember my involvement in '88 where I had a list of things to do and not to do in the game, and one of those was try and keep my yellow and red cards in my pocket.
Referees should not be told things like that, though, really, should they? Should they really have that level of control over them at UEFA? What do you think, Mark Lawrenson?
Well, I think the problem is that football's owned by television, and when you get somebody like UEFA, they want, this is like their brand, their product, whatever you want to call it. And I can imagine that. I'm sure it's virtually the same. Now, I remember being when Portugal for the Euros there, and we were in the same hotel as the referees. This is the BBC lot, and we weren't even allowed to go in the restaurant, the same part of the restaurant as the referees, in case we kind of talked to them, or it was like absolute rubbish. But I'm with Keith. I mean, you know, I've seen loads of Champions League this year, all around Europe, and some of the referees are absolutely great. I never know the names. There's the Turkish guy, I think, is fantastic. It's a boy from Italy, the tall blonde lad who loves himself a little bit, but he's good. Yeah. The Spanish boys, there's Dutch, there's all sorts, and actually, a lot of them are better than our lot.
Correct, no question. I mean, I think Clattenburg rightly sits in that mix. I think he's done his reputation really a lot of good in terms of his European Championship final, which he refereed superbly.
He was brilliant
yeah,
in that.
He was.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. But I think that, I mean, the old basis around this is preparation, and Kalina is probably the best guy in terms of preparing before a game himself when he was refereeing, and he brings that into refereeing. He brings that into the group of refereeing. He's monitored them over a period of time. He's coached them. He puts a hand round the shoulder and he gives them a kick up the backside if they don't perform. But he tells them, he communicates well, something that we've said is completely lacking in this environment of the Premier League that we've seen.
I would also have thought, Keith, that because there's been a bit of a gap between the last games that they've all refereed and the tournament, they'll all be fit. As in, they'll be, you know, probably even fitter than normal to come at the end of a long, hard season. But if they've had 2 or 3 weeks off, and they train them hard, don't they?
Oh,
they work them hard.
Make no mistake, the programme's there. They're sent the programme by the sports science. They stick to it. We've seen that level of fitness coming out of Clattenburg, where we've not perhaps seen it out of the others.
Well, Martin Atkinson, has had a fitness problem, Keith, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's quite sad. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, as you know, I've always favoured Clattenburg as being our #1 select referee. I think others have pushed Atkinson, and in fairness to Martin, he had a good end to the season, but sadly he got injured, as I understand it, in one of these UEFA get-togethers. And let's hope that he's going to be fit enough for the tournament. If he's not, he'll not be refereeing. Make no mistake.
Does that mean, Keith, then, that there'll be another English referee that gets a late call-up?
No.
Doesn't work that way.
He's gone. And the sadness of that is that the squad around him, this coach load of officials that they have at European game, the 2 behind the goal and all those, are all stay at home.
As well.
They stay at
part
home.
of the team. Oh, well.
But again,
some people should say 2 of them should stay at home anyway.
Well, I believe that. But I think the thing is that
nothing personal, of course, just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah. What he does do, Kalina, is accountability. So if any of these guys don't deliver, we don't expect to see them again in the remainder of the tournament.
I just wonder whether it might be a little bit of a more open tournament, because there's only 8 teams don't go through to the second stage. So you know when you come to the first game and everybody, it's a great big build-up and you know it's going to be rubbish because they don't want to get beat, the teams, and quite rightly so. Maybe this is a bit different. You know, you maybe only need one win from 3 games, might actually get you through.
Yeah, I mean, 12 go through, 2 from each of the groups, and the 4 best third place teams go through as well to make 16. So you have to be pretty awful not to qualify, wouldn't you?
Well, you would, unless of course you're like the Republic of Ireland, who've got like the nightmare group. But
your former international team.
yeah, they're going to draw 3. They're going to draw 3 games 0-0.
That's your firm prediction.
They won't concede any, but they won't score.
Well, if they
that
draw 3
might be
games,
enough.
it should be enough.
Yeah,
shouldn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
You play to your strengths, don't you?
You're a good tipster. You're renowned as a good tipster.
I'm not.
Tell us more. Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England. What do you think?
I tell you what, I'm not being funny, but pro rata, Northern Ireland have had the best qualification, even better than England, when you consider the players or lack of that they've got. They've been brilliant. Michael O'Neill, not to be obviously linked with Martin O'Neill, who's the Republic, but Michael O'Neill, I think, Alan, I think he lost the first 6 or 8 games.
He did, yeah.
And I think the fact that he was on paltry money was the only probably thing that kept him in a job. Yeah. And somebody at the Football Association, the Irish Football Association, obviously thought he's a right. He's done fantastic.
What a turnaround! Absolutely, on a par with Barnsley in the Football League.
Oh, absolutely, no question.
Relatively,
Yeah.
but they're in a group with Germany, of course, and Poland and Ukraine. So it's a very, very hard.
It's a toughie. It is a toughie. But at the moment, it's just that they're not frightened of anyone. No. I think they just had a 0-0 at the weekend somewhere away from home, didn't they? And they were very comfortable.
I think, you know, I've seen a few of these games, and some players freeze on the big occasion. Despite all their experiences, they freeze. I mean, I think this is probably a benefit to the English side with so many youngsters. Yeah. That might help the process, that they're naive to all the pressures that come with it. But I just think Northern Ireland are going, and I think the Republic and Wales will do the same. They're going with the intention of saying, look, one, we're delighted to be there, to have qualified, and we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to enjoy it.
They can all attack it without the pressure that England have and Roy Hodgson, can't they?
Yeah, but then he should have pressure, shouldn't he? When you consider that the amount of players he has to choose from the Premier League in you know, comparison to what the other teams have got, he should be under pressure. And I'll tell you something about Roy Hodgson, and I mean, I think he's a nice guy. He is the luckiest man alive how he never lost his job after Brazil. England were out after 2 games. Yeah. If you look, 50% of the managers who managed in the World Cup in the finals all went.
Does that make it right, though?
What, that they should go?
They should go.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think that it is, because, and I don't want to see anybody get sacked, but you know, it should be, as an international manager, a 2-year cycle. Yeah. And your contract should only ever be 2 years. And if you do well, you get another 2. I mean, the days of England with Capello, and I mean, somebody ring-fenced him before South Africa and gave him 4 years. I mean, 4 years at mad money.
Yeah. But every England manager has failed. Apart from, say, Bobby Robson and Terry Venables, since Sir Alf, everyone has, quotes, failed, which kind of means they haven't failed, because they're in good company, aren't they?
Look, I mean, I'll just take a fan's view. The Premiership, I know a lot of these players play week in and week out. We see it at high intensity, massive levels of fitness compared to other teams across Europe. And then we go to a tournament and we start playing like, or trying to play like Brazil. That's not our style of play. And I think it's so frustrating that we go, come on guys, you even see it at Wembley. Now, I don't know, you know, blame the grass or blame the conditions or whatever.
But you can't anymore now.
No, you can't. And the
pitches are as good, if not better, everywhere else.
But the reality is, Mark, you see them and you think, come on, put some pace in it.
Yeah, I honestly think the problem with England is that by this time of the year or end of the season, a lot of them are on their knees. Yeah. Because of the intensity that Keith talks about. And I don't care what you say, La Liga, yeah, maybe the top 4 or 5 are better than the English top 4 or 5, but you're winning games 5 and 6-0 some weeks, and you're only having to turn up. You're not even having to put in massive effort.
I saw some of the work of Sam Allardyce, you know, and okay, it seems that the FA are never going to consider Sam Allardyce. No. They don't know him, because technically, behind the scenes, the sports science that he involves is absolutely top drawer. And if you speak to the guy, and I spoke to all the managers in the Premier League at some point in my role in the past, you look and you go about this intensity. The one thing, I can remember going to Blackburn, and there were two coaches, not football coaches, coaches outside. And I've gone, what are they for? They're going to Scotland. Who are the players? They're going to go on for R&R. We're not going to talk football, get involved in football. We're just going for a few days rest. And you suddenly think, yeah.
You can have
He
some
was
of
going
that.
to Portugal
Yeah.
You can have some of that R&R. Meantime, though, the usual brain teaser from you, RF. Join us after the break. We'll kick on with our Euro 26 discussion with Mark Lawrenson and Keith Hackett. See if you can answer this one, though. Last season, two rivals clashed violently. You're in charge of their first meeting since that incident, and you're shocked to see one of them run out with a big wig on, mocking his opponent's trademark haircut. The wig is firmly fixed. Do you intervene?